Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Don't really have to look up the date today. Today is Monday, December 25th, Christmas. And for that reason, even though we have kind of a need to do 3 daily quests just to stay on track, I'm probably gonna not spend too much time today. Let's see. We have Enrage, which would not really work with Paladin and Priest, or win 3 games with the Druid. I suppose it's better to get rid of this than it is to get rid of this. So, Priest victories, which on the Americas account could probably be done with cheating. And since we're trying to have a bit of an accelerated experience, I'm just going to immediately skip the Americas account. I may come back to it if anybody comes on the chat and wants to play me for some Christmas Day play, but I bet odds are very, very high that nobody's going to come on the chat. People are going to have families and friends that they're spending the day with. It's 3:30 Central Time, U.S. Central Time, and let's see, I guess here, either I'm going to get another daily quest. This European account in particular is the craziest one. I guess I only need to play Death Rattle cards on this, and so let's see if we can make a deck that will work for that. And I'm assuming we don't have one. And let's just start getting rid of things that are unlabeled and wild. Hearthstone deck tracker decided to crash immediately. Alright. Thanks for that, game. If I type in death, what deck would be the best deck to play to ensure you have death rattles? Maybe the Hunter. Maybe the Priest. Seems like the Rogue is the one to do it for. Alright, so we'll make a new standard Rogue deck. Or we'll make it wild, but then we'll switch it to standard at the end. And of course, if I save some time here, like recording today, I can get back to playing Evil Within, which is going pretty well. There is some definite storyline flaws, and it's kind of a short game that gets more difficult by the fact that there's some sections where you just have to fight really difficult enemies and you die and you start over again and you die and you start over again. That very well may have been the experience I had the first time I played Resident Evil 4, but what I remember of Resident Evil 4, which theoretically I suppose this is the continuation or the spiritual continuation of the Resident Evil series because it's the same director. But what I remember of my favorite Resident Evil, which is Resident Evil 4, is the gameplay through on the New Game Plus when you had all of the guns unlocked, where you had all of the items memorized, and there was really no struggle, and there was in Resident Evil particularly, there was no stealth ability at all. In Evil Within, there is this stealth ability, and that makes some scenarios really, really difficult, and you're severely limited on bullets. Way fewer bullets than any Resident Evil game I've ever seen. And that causes you to potentially, you have a handgun with maybe 18, maybe 24 bullets right now, is what I'm up to. And I guess since I only need to really play death rattle cards, right? That's all I need to do. I'll go ahead and play ranked and see if we can get some ranked for wins. So when there's many characters on the ground and half of them feel like they have to be stealth killed because you may only have 6 bullets in an entire area and there may be 7 enemies, and oh, it takes 3 bullets right now to kill anything, and headshots don't seem like they're really doing anything. Like it really doesn't strike me as if headshots are doing any extra damage. It might be because my gun critical is at 0%, and so if I raise the critical up, maybe then a headshot would do something. But then some of the enemies have basically shields and masks on their face that seems like if you shoot them in the head, it would just take more bullets. On top of the problem of trying to figure out whether you're supposed to stealth or not stealth, there is a problem with many sections where you're supposed to just run away. There is a lot of running away in this game, which I find a little strange. There is also, it's not until the 3rd or 4th chapter in the game that you start picking up a reasonable amount of weapons so that you are playing a game that feels anything like Resident Evil. For the first 3 chapters, you only have a handgun and you barely find any bullets. I was playing it on normal and I didn't even make it that far. I suppose at this point it's worth pointing out, particularly to Travis if he happens to ever listen to this, since Travis donated the game to me so graciously. Anybody that gives me a game, as a video game critic, I am going to criticize it. And I want to point out the slight distinction that I am enjoying doing my job with the game and criticizing the game, even if I am sounding critical and unhappy with the game. If somebody gives me a game and I hate it completely, that still doesn't mean I didn't want to play it. As a YouTuber and a video game critic, I kind of am in this position where I actually do want to irritate myself by playing some games that are bad. That is also true when I'm shopping, is that sometimes I look at a game and I go, this game has name recognition, but I also happen to know through other reviews and through other people and just through the reviews on Steam that this game is not considered a positive experience. I would be a very bad video game reviewer if I only played the greatest games. I tend to try to play the most name recognizable games, with a balance of every now and then throwing in something that nobody's ever heard of. There's sadly just so many games that nobody's ever heard of on Steam that it gets very difficult to choose what is worth even trying to spotlight. I tend, as I go through the discovery queue, particularly for the sale, to get the trading cards, if a game only has like 8 reviews or something, I tend not to play it, because it's just probably nothing. It's just never going to get any coverage. The store in Evil Within, to kind of preliminarily play it, I'm probably 1/3 of the way done with the main game, and looking at the achievements, seems like you could run through the whole main game in less than 5 hours. I'm assuming this has like a new game plus scenario that lets you keep all the weapons and all your upgrades, and on a second playthrough you'll find that there's a lot less of a struggle, and It's more about finding the collectibles in the game. All the collectibles seem to be exactly the same. You find a key. It seems like all the keys are in a statue of, I suppose it's the Virgin Mary, so some people might be upset with shooting statues of the Virgin Mary. Let's go ahead and play this. That's not a death rattle card. That was totally the wrong card to play. Explosive trap. When you find the key, it takes you to basically a wall full of safes, and I think what's behind the safes are permanently set, so if you just, even on your first gameplay, knew which safes to pick, you probably could pick the most impactful, most helpful reward behind them, and then slowly get the less useful awards as you open all of them. There's an achievement for opening all of them. Again, maybe you have to go through New Game Plus to open them all. It seems like you would have to. Let's see. Death Rattle for 1. Death Rattle for 1. Death Rattle for 4. And then let's play this and see if we can get some more Death Rattle. Nope. Well, he stopped spectating me. I guess he assumed I was gonna lose, but he's not wrong about that. Overall, I'm still pretty hyped to play The Evil Within. I'm kind of hyped on just how fast it seems like I might be through with it. I have the DLC and everything, so we'll see if any of the upgrades connect to the DLC or not. They probably don't. And then I'll have to think about whether I want to play a second time through. It's pretty cruel, and I'm thinking once I get a little bit more caught up, I'm going to go back to 45 minutes or even hour-long episodes, particularly on specific games like The Evil Within, because evaluating a game like that in 30-minute chunks is not great. There are easily 30-minute chunks in games like The Evil Within where you are just struggling and you've made no progress whatsoever. Usually you will make progress in about an hour or 45 minutes, or you'll have the rare 45-minute chunk of time where nothing happens. But let's see. We should probably try to cover the news and just get through this rather quickly. Now, Travis also gave me some other games. Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is going to be backburnered, and the Jackbox Party Pack, I'm going to look at it, but I wouldn't also be surprised if that requires friends to play. So I'll try to do it, but it probably will just be a spotlight, if that much, depending on whether I can even start a game without getting and scheduling other people to play with me, which is not something that's going to happen anytime soon. There's very, very little news, but there are top 10 lists of Giant Bomb. I've started listening to the Giant Bomb Game of the Year deliberations, and I think I've gotten as far as the first of 4 picks. I'm maybe at the end of that first discussion, which that gives me something very long and to listen to see what their best of the year and the awards they want to give out. Jim Sterling gave out Game of the Year awards and intentionally left off Zelda Breath of the Wild every time he mentioned Nintendo games, just to troll people. And when you're having an end of the year awards thing that you're making up and trying to have some legitimacy, doing a troll is the thing that's going to lose you any chance at legitimacy. Let's see. Probably should just try and kill this guy. The Drinkbox Studios characters are going to be in Brawlout, which I think for the most part that is Guacamelee characters. Let me watch the video. Brawlout is an eShop, Nintendo eShop game apparently. So Juan from Guacamelee is going to be in it. I imagine the girl character from Guacamelee is going to be it. Brawlout looks like Smash Brothers. It's just not Smash Brothers characters. There's a bunch of other characters being shown here for Brawlout. I don't have a clue who any of these characters are. Let's do this. So, yeah, Brawlout looks like a better version of several different versions of Smash Brother clones we've seen lately. I guess this is a clear indication that people want Smash Brothers on the Switch and just Smash Brothers on the PC in general, and Nintendo's not doing it quick enough, which is almost certainly true. Let's see, kill this, and then do this, and then do this. And that may be the only news. No, we have another bit of news. Hand of Fate 2 is adding a dealer companion and outlines its 2018 expansion plans. Let's read further. The dealer appreciation add-on includes a fresh dealer-themed customization option for your character, which will be available to anybody starting a new game. So you can change how the dealer looks alongside the update. Developer Very Positive, apparently the name of the developer is called Very Positive, outlines plans for 2018. The main add-on will be an endless mode that will offer fresh challenges and tons of new unlockables. That's probably a very good idea for Hand of Fate 2, because I don't think you can that quickly come out with a Hand of Fate 3 without drastically improving something, and I'm not sure how much needs to be improved or it could be improved. Hand of Fate 2 came out maybe less than a year after Hand of Fate 1, and arguably Hand of Fate 2 could have been just DLC. But I guess maybe DLC is such a toxic term now that people just would prefer to have short annual experiences like we used to. There'll be a number of smaller additions in the works too, including a new enemy faction, more companion characters, and weapons. Yeah. So, Hand of Fate 2 looks like it's going in the right way. So, let's play this, and play this, and see if we get some more Death Rattle cards. Can't. No. Play this. And that. Kill that. Alright. So the first of about 10 top 10 games of 2017 lists by, well, it's accumulated and requested by Giant Bomb. There we go. I've played all of this. That's all I needed to do. At least that's what it looks like. All I need to do, we'll come back in 30 minutes and see if that glitch is still happening and if there actually is a new daily quest in the European, but we're already over to the Asian account. And I am fine with that. I'm fine with having at least one day off. Like, off the tedious burn gameplay of Hearthstone. One extra day, I suppose, would be the right way to put it. There we go. 50 warrior cars, tavern brawls. If I hold on to that, the tavern brawl will be back in a day. And warlock. Of course, I could get rid of tavern brawls. And that's probably the right move to do. Like, I don't want to do tavern brawls. I don't want to play 5 tavern brawls. Ever. There we go. Hero power. And let's see. Warrior class. Sounds like a good move to make. So let's get rid of this warlock. Make this. Do this. Choose this. And if we're gonna do all warrior cards, now arguably you're better off having like 5 warrior 5 cards replaced that would be just draw more cards. Let's see, we'll type this in and just call it warrior cards. That's not the best deck to make ever, but it will work for now. And then we'll just make sure we use our hero ability as much as possible. Warrior cards. Ranked, might as well. Yes, so Giant Bomb asks basically everybody famous and generally their friends. And this is the time of year to see how the connections exist between the video game creators and the video game critics, that they can just ask they ask all of their friends to make a top 10 list, and they send it out to a lot of people, and if they consider you important enough, they will publish it and feature it. Probably on the forum you could do a top 10 list. On Giant Bomb's forum you could do a top 10 list yourself, but there's a difference, significant difference, between what just a random person like me putting a top 10 list for on their site versus these friends, and I probably would have no problem calling them family of Giant Bomb. So the first list is Ed Boon. If you don't know Ed Boon, he's the co-creator of Mortal Kombat, and he is the creative director at Northern Realm Studios, and so he's been he also did Injustice 2. So his top 10 are PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Fortnite Battle Royale. I'm not going to comment too much on any of these lists, honestly. I think I'll just point out if something seems really strange. What Remains of Edith Finch. A lot of these are just going to be the same thing anyways. Cuphead, Horizon Zero Dawn, Gears of War 4, I think is a slightly strange choice, but oh, fair enough. Did Gears of War 4 even come out this year? Resident Evil 7, Words with Friends 2. I didn't know there was a Words with Friends 2. It's been that very long time since I played Words with Friends. Next we have Greg Miller from Kinda Funny Games. Now it's worth mentioning, I suppose, that one of the persons on Kinda Funny Games was sort of boosted out of, kicked out of the industry for having conservative views in an industry that is so widely built around liberal groupthink. I don't want to get too political, and frankly, I will fully admit that he might have actually done something else, and he just used that as an excuse for why he was quitting. But there was definitely some drama at Kind of Funny Games, and frankly, I don't think Kind of Funny Games is a good group of review sites. It's like a YouTube channel. I just don't find it funny or that informative, or any of the characters that great. Let's see. I think Greg Miller may have done something else before then, but as they're talking about him, it seems like they don't really have anything to say about him, so he's kind of an unimportant person that shouldn't be on this list compared to Ed Boon, who at least he is an industry insider. But whatever. His top 10 are Resident Evil 7, Patapon Remastered, interesting choice, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Life is Strange Before the Storm, Everybody's Golf, Destiny 2, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Friday the 13th, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then number 1 is Super Mario Odyssey. I don't know if the other list was 10 to 1 that I just read for Ed Boon, or if it was 1 to 10, but this one was 10 to 1. Not anything crazy here, other than maybe Patapon 2, and it seems like all of these people are going to have just one game in particular that they're obsessed with playing. I only used the Hero Power once. I need to make a more concerted effort to do that more often. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they all have like one game that they've been playing that nobody else really has been playing. Next we have is a person named Alexandra, which that sounds like a fake name if I've ever heard one. Top 10 games. Designer, author, and all-around great friend Alexander is back with another list of your favorite video games thing. It looks like Alexandra is a freelance game designer from Quebec City, Canada, who has twice now turned the Beast Crew incredibly strange games ideas into reality. So she makes games directly for a giant bomb. I'll throw it out there. It looks like she might be transgendered person with a name like Alexandra, but that might also just be a pin name for writers. So I could be wrong about that. The sad secret is it does kind of seem like there's more transgendered women in video game writing and criticism than there are real women. Well, cis women, naturally born women. How do you say that right? Man, boy, do I sound like a bigot. But whatever. Moving on. Frankly, sadly, it's the video game industry and the main media that's made me sound worse and worse as I've gotten older. I used to be a lot more liberal. Moving on, the top 10 list though is Super Mario Odyssey, Cook Serve Delicious 2, the Battle Chef Brigade. I want to play that game kind of badly, and then I think I probably would be a little disappointed by how short the game is when I finally get around to playing it. Opus Magnum, another game I'd like to play. There's this is the first time I've actually seen the game in motion, and that is slightly different from what I understood, how I thought it was going to work. But that's fine. That still looks interesting. Getting over it with Bennett Foddy. I don't want to play that game. Sonic Mania. I'm glad that Sonic Mania exists, but I don't want to play it. Rex Another Island. That one's odd. This thing looks like a CGA less than 8-bit platformer where you play as a dinosaur. All you can do, according to the description, is double jump and collect coins. This one seems way out of place. Maybe she created this game. Number 3 is Nier Automata. Number 2 is Butterfly Soup. Butterfly Soup is a visual novel about teens who join a baseball thing. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm wrong, Butterfly Soup is also about someone transitioning and being transgender, and unless I'm just completely misremembering this visual. So that wasn't just me going on a rant, or maybe it is still me just going on a rant. And then number 1 is Splatoon 2, and I would argue that the most controversial pick here is Splatoon 2. There's some notable games that either Alexandra didn't play or didn't care for, like no Mario Odyssey made 10, and no Zelda at all. Not all the lists need to be the same, of course. People can have different opinions. I'm just going to criticize their opinions as a critic. Next we have Chris Tilton. Composer Chris Tilton. Let's see. And has written music for a few TV shows such as Fringe and Zoo, and video games such as SimCity, Assassin's Creed Unity, and Black. He started Exploding Tuba Studios, which released their first game, Divide, earlier this year. So he's a video game creator and a composer. That seems like an appropriate transition for your career. How do you go from composing music to be running an entire video game company? I suppose maybe you just, while you were composing music, you were playing a ton of video games and you really have the instincts for it. And if you own the company, maybe you can hire other people to do the programming and the real creative work. So he's got a list here at the beginning of games he didn't even have time to play, but I think the but I'm going to skip the games he didn't play and just go with the list he has. He's put titles here on his, at least this first one. So number 10 is 2017's, 2016's, 2015 Game of the Year, which is Rise of the Tomb Raider. And clearly the joke here is that Rise of the Tomb Raider got completely pushed back. And frankly, it having just played Rise of the Tomb Raider, I'm surprised that it would even make the list at all. It's just kind of an exact copy and worse version of the Tomb Raider reboot, the game before then. Like, when the third game in that trilogy comes out, it's gonna probably be the best bet for anybody who wants to get into it to play the first game in the trilogy, just called Tomb Raider. I think it's a 2015 reboot, or maybe it was 2013. And then skip Rise of the Tomb Raider and just move on to the next game. And if it turns out that the third game in that series is yet another copy of like a worse version of Rise of the Tomb Raider, then that trilogy is done for. Number 9 is best most recent Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 15, which kind of means nothing. He seems like he's not even comparing the games to each other. Number 8 is best beat 'em up. That's a shooter, Destiny 2. 7 best all up in other people's business game is Tacoma. I would argue Tacoma probably doesn't deserve to be on any top 10 list. It's probably a fine game, but I don't think there's enough there to justify that. I keep forgetting to use the hero ability. Well, I'll use the hero ability a lot after I did that. Over Tacoma, I would say play Gone Home still. Best game that makes me like VR, Skyrim VR. Not really worth using it. Number 5 is just called Japan, and the winner is Yakuza 0. Number 4 is best time to be into Mario again, Super Mario Odyssey. And he's being cutesy with all these names. Best space RPG named Mass Effect is Mass Effect Andromeda. That's a clear mistake there. Like, Mass Effect Andromeda does not deserve any recognition except for maybe worst game of the year or biggest mess. Best franchise comeback, Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't think this is a franchise comeback for Assassin's Creed Origins, honestly. I think it is a new style of game using the same story and the same name. So it's a reboot, in my opinion, of Assassin's Creed as far as gameplay style. Or just maybe an evolution or continuation of Assassin's Creed. I don't think it's a comeback because you're not coming back to the way those games were played before. How does attack equal to your armor? And number 1 is best game that reminded me why video games are great, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I have a lot of problems with his way of doing his list, because instead of picking 10 games and putting them in any kind of order, he just kind of picked 10 reasons to highlight 10 games, which is fine, but then they shouldn't have been numbered. And I imagine they were numbered by one of the editors at Giant Bomb. Next we have Nina Freeman's top 10 of the games. The creator of the game Chibele, Chibele, never heard of it. And How Do You Do It? I have heard of that one. Explores both otherworldly and highly personal in their top 10. Explores spaces both otherworldly and highly personal in their top 10 games of the year. Nina Freeman, they're showing a picture of her, and for comparison, she does look like she was cis female. I don't know why this keeps coming up. It keeps coming up because other people keep bringing it up, but honestly, I'm starting to feel like I'm obsessed with it. How Do You Do It, of course, was a game I jokingly covered. It's only about 5 minutes in Flash, and I recorded it totally wrong, so it's just this top square on my channel. Like, maybe someday I'll try and go back and re-record it. Nina Freeman is a level designer at Fulbright in Portland, Oregon. So she worked on Tacoma. Let's see. And Chibele, I'm going to click on this link to see what this game is. Chibele. Show me a picture of it. And it's just an article. Chibele explores how relationships are formed on the internet into the ages. Like, Is there not a picture I can see bigger than this tiny little icon? It seems like it's one of those desktop games where you just see a desktop and a chat window, and then you go through basically a text adventure. Moving on to her list. Her list is not numbered. So Detention being the Korean horror game I want to play, but it's kind of hard to afford budget for it. Prey not getting a lot of awards because of probably it being mediocre at best. Everything is going to be okay. That's an unheard of, and it looks like one of those desktop type adventures again. Nier Automata, part of that one. Resident Evil 7. Seems like she's into more horror games than most people are. A game called After Hours, no space, capital H. Is a game about Bahia Khan and her innermost thoughts. It is an intensely thoughtful and personal game. She shares her trauma with the player, significant diving into the experience with molestation and borderline personality disorder. What a downer that is. And again, this doesn't actually look like it is going to be much of a game because it looks like it's just full motion video. So I'm going to see about that one. If there's actually a game worth playing there, that would be an unheard of thing, but that would be such a downer and it'd get me demonetized too. Next on the list is Danganronpa 3 Volume 3 Killing Harmony. I want to get into that series eventually. All these top 10 lists really boil down to, boy, I want to play that game. Boy, I want to play that game. And particularly evaluating how many games I covered this year versus how many games I'm thinking I'm going to cover next year. That's a problem that's going to only get worse. But that's what all video game critics say, isn't it? There's never enough time to play all the games. Oops, forgot to attack. Next is a game called Gigantic. I've heard of it, but only really in name. And then next is Getting Over It with Nate Foddy. I think at some point I might have to actually do a spotlight on that game. Let's see. Let's see, the After Hours game linked directly to a Google Drive zip file. Like, so to play After Hours on PC, you have to download it directly from Google Drive. There's no giant bomb listing of the game or anything like that. Wow. Well, that's just not, that's a little too indie for me when I'm downloading games directly. Not even from a website. Gigantic, at least, is a third-person shooter and MOBA hybrid game. Okay, that explains why I haven't played it. Is this new music on Hearthstone? I kind of wonder. I'm starting to think maybe this is. Next we have Steve Gaynor's top 11 games of 2017. Let's see. Steve Gaynor is the co-founder of the Fulbright Company, so almost everybody that worked at Fulbright, it seems like had a list. They made Gone Home and Tacoma. Remember, Fulbright, though, had some people split off, and there was a different company that's called Dimbulb or something like that. I don't know if it was particularly that upsetting of a split. It was more of just kind of an actual artistic difference on where they wanted to take the game. I imagine after making Gone Home, I personally wouldn't have wanted to go and make Tacoma. I would have wanted to do something different. His top 11, starting with number 11, is Resident Evil 7. Next is a game called Trackless. Never heard of that one. Next is Night in the Woods, which people keep talking about, but every time I look at it, the animation turns me off. Next is Pyre, which I'm not interested in really playing. Next is Prey, which I am interested in playing. I guess I'm never going to get around to playing Yakuza 0. Come to think of it. I just don't think there will be enough time. Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. I think I might at some point get away with playing that on Steam, on YouTube, but I'm not sure. And I don't, like, that would be my ideal game to play on Valentine's Day if I was going to do a Valentine's Day game, but I don't think it's going to happen. Again, this Butterfly Soup is getting over advertised. Actually, it goes from Dream Daddy number 5 to a game called Packing Up, which seems like a game where you're literally packing up your room to move. It doesn't look that interesting. And then number 3 is Butterfly Soup, which I think is getting overhyped. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, which I think most people think is getting overhyped. And then number 1 is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, and honestly, I don't think there's any legitimate reason to give Wolfenstein 2 the number 1 game of the year for 2017. No, there's just some cynicalness in the storytelling, and the gameplay's not come out from it, what I've heard, is as amazing. That certainly was the similar situation when I played Wolfenstein, the New Order. Yeah, like, it was a fine game, but average at best. Like, I wouldn't have given that game of the year, certainly. Moving on. We have Ben Pack's top 10 games a year. So Ben Pack was like the intern at Giant Bomb, and when Giant Bomb was independent with Whiskey Media, which I guess that means they weren't actually independent before they went to CBSI, and then they hired him on as an employee right after his house burned down. So I don't know. That is certainly a point to point out here, is I wouldn't be surprised at the end of Giant Bomb if there was some announcements that somebody was quitting or going somewhere else. For the past 4 years, I think 3 out of the years, somebody who's worked at Giant Bomb has moved on to a different job. Patrick Klepek, there was a guy in Giant Bomb East that I can't even remember his name, and after he left, they hired Ben and Abby this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ben or Abby left. Ben has already announced that he was going to have surgery, but that surgery could turn into something else. Surgery on his feet, which I imagine he's probably got some kind of shortened Achilles or something, because he's gigantically tall, if I was just to generally guess. His top 10 list, though, is Destiny 2, Night in the Woods, Battle Chef Brigade. I really don't know his style. Like, in 1 year of him being a Giant Bomb, they've covered so few games that I don't know if I should trust his opinions. I don't know what kind of games he likes and what kind of games he doesn't. They've hired people for the past few years just to be personalities and not to be actual video game critics that like do quick looks, do video reviews, and I'm not gonna read the written reviews, so that's probably the only point where they put any actual opinions in it. Let's see, where were we? Battleship Brigade, Persona 5. So if there's one person who's playing the Japanese games, it might be Min. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus is number 6. Assassin's Creed Origins is number 5. And then he's got a game called Rivals of Ether, which is a Smash Brothers ripoff, but in 8-bit 2D animation. Which, okay. Number 3 is Cuphead, and this is the first instance, I believe, of Cuphead being mentioned at all. And so Cuphead's getting very, very much left in the dust. Maybe because it was actually too hard for a lot of these video game critics to actually play, or these industry insiders in the video games world to actually play, because Cuphead should probably be in the 3rd or 4th position on every list. Number 2, Super Mario Odyssey, can't disagree with that. Number 1, Nier Automata. If that's his choice, I'll accept it, that he would put Nier Automata above Super Mario Odyssey. That I'd say they're very close, and depending on what you're looking for in games, whether you want a mature Japanese game or whether you want a very young focused Japanese game, those two work well together. And Ben really is the only person that's covered many Japanese games and all that came out. Moving on, we have Mary Kish's top 10. Mary Kish is a producer at Twitch, who you may also know for having working at GameSpot or appearances on Giant Bomb. I was hoping Mary Kish was going to transfer over to Giant Bomb, and then the interesting personality, because personalities would all be on the Bombcast, and not really happening. Instead, she left GameSpot, and the few times I had heard her on the Bombcast, I thought, oh yeah, she brings in a new opinion, and she's interesting to listen to. I guess again, I'll say she looks like she's a cis female, so I'm still on that rant. Clearly, I'm just saying this because I'm seeing the pictures of them. I'm assuming all the men are cis men, which is probably quite an assumption to make. Moving on, though, her list starting with number 10 is PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Number 9 is Hellblade's Susuna's Sacrifice, another game that is not getting enough recognition, but I could easily see why many of the lists would have her as number 11. As an actual game, Hellblade is not that great to make it to the top 10 list. Next, Dream Daddy Dating Simulator. Okay. This one's confusing. Gravity Rush 2. While a fine game, I don't believe Gravity Rush 2 deserves to be on the top 10 list. Number 6 is What Remains of Edith Finch. Number 5 is Rainworld. I don't think so. I don't think Rainworld deserves to win either, but I don't know anything about it, so I'll feign ignorance there. Number 4 is Resident Evil 7. Number 3 is Divinity Original Sin 2. Again, doesn't feel like a game that deserves to be on the list. She seems to have some specific styles of games that she likes to play that are out of line with what I think normal people would want to play. But it's her list, so I mean, all I'm saying is that my personal opinion does not line up with her personal opinion. which is easy enough to do because I don't know if I'm even going to bother to do a top 10 list. I'll do a game of the year at the end of the year, and that's kind of games of the that I played, which won't be games that came out. Number 1 is Hollow Knight. A lot of people like Hollow Knight, but I'm also not surprised that nobody else has mentioned Hollow Knight. And lastly, I believe, no, we may have some more. We have Jeff Bakalar's top 10 games of 2017. Jeff Bakalar is a CNET editor who was doing the 404, but he actually stopped doing the 404, so now all he's doing is editing and writing for CNET articles now, I assume. And he shows up on most Giant Bomb East Beastcast things, but he doesn't really work for them in some weird way. So his list is Little Nightmares. I don't think that deserves to be on the list. Sexy Brutale. I think that probably could get on the list, but you would have to have not played too many games. Next is Golf Story. A lot of people loved Golf Story, but it didn't make it to anybody else's list. Observer. Don't think that deserves it. Dream Dad, a dad dating simulator. It seems like more people played that than they would want to admit. Next is Night at the Woods. Night in the Woods. Next is Nier Automata. These aren't numbered, by the way. Next is Hollow Knight. Next is Persona 5. I really have to wonder how many of these people who are saying Persona 5 actually play the Persona 5 all the way to the end, since I think it's a pretty long RPG game. And next is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Nobody's going to be mentioning Battlegrounds next year, almost certainly. And he's attached a picture of a holiday card where there's a boy in the snow, and behind him there's a dog pooping in the snow as a joke. Okay. As the official office holiday card. Let's see. The PC Gamer has another article that might interest somebody. It's the weirdest PC mics. There's a Skype mouse that has a cell phone like attachment to it. So you flip the bottom half, the bottom portion of the top portion of a mouse upward, and there's a number pad and a hang up and dial buttons. I don't know why you would want that or think you need that, but okay. Like, I probably would love a mouse like that so I could see if I could reprogram it, but I bet it wouldn't work too well. There's the Zalman FPS Gun FG1000 mouse that turns the mouse kind of sideways, and it's like you're holding the butt of a gun without the top part, the handle of the gun without the top part where the bullets actually would go. And then there's kind of a mouse attached to the front of that. I could see people with like disabilities really using a mouse like that, and I've seen other mouses or mice that are similar to that in that they rotate things 90 degrees instead of having your hand in its normal resting position. However, rotating 90 degrees for most people doesn't really change too much. Next they have the Hangwang TN mouse, which looks like it has a small touch screen on top of it. Let's see. It's a tablet and mouse, but it's a tiny little tablet, so that'd be useless. Next, they have the Tarantula Spider Glow mouse that has like a fake tarantula in a clear plastic case at the bottom of the mouse. I wouldn't want that. Next is a very odd looking thing called the Air Mouse, which looks like parts of a glove if you cut away most of the fabric of a glove. So there's a fabric going on your pointer and your middle finger, all attached, and then there's something slightly below your pointer finger on the inside of your hand, and something covering up half of the back of your hand, all connecting to a wrist strap. That looks like a mess of a mouse. There's a mouse called the MUS3. It looks like it's an extremely elongated mouse for no real reason. Just gonna play the last two cards I have here and hope that that works. It's a mouse shaped like a mouse arrow. Brilliant. Yeah, I guess it does look like a mouse arrow. Next, we have a mouse called the Bat, B-A-T, aka the levitating mouse. It's levitating on a pad. But I assume once you put your hand on the levitating mouse, that the levitating effect could not overpower you to the point where you're getting this zero resistance movement. And I'm not sure you'd even really want that, because even with a laser mouse that I'm using right now, I have a mouse pad, mouse board that has a smooth side on one side and a rough side on the other, so I could flip the mouse pad over if I needed more precision control. If my mouse was just hovering in the air, for me that's not going to work at all, but for this device I don't feel like that's what I'd want. Next they have the Symmetric Swift Point Tripod mouse, which is this tiny little mouse thing trying to simulate if you were holding a pen or pencil. I don't think anybody would like that. Next is the Novent Falcon with pistol grip, and that is not particularly just a 2D mouse. It's a 3D movement system, kind of for VR. I guess I'll just keep fatiguing myself until he loses. That was never going to work as an input device because it's just big and bulky and practically has to be bolted down. The concept of any kind of mouse in VR or a 3D environment not just being camera captured is not going to work. This has extension bars that measure the X, Y, and Z axis of where you're holding the pistol grip. And that it's just too cumbersome. If you're going to have a gun accessory in VR, it's going to just look like a toy gun. Hopefully it'll look like a toy gun and people don't end up getting shot on accident. But it'll just be something you hold, and then whatever camera technology that you're using in your VR will capture what you're holding too. Next we have the Tricepticon USB laser mouse, which is basically a mouse that can transform into a dinosaur. I can imagine a kid wanting that. Like I wouldn't look down on a kid wanting to be able to transform their mouse into that. Yes, with the exception of the Skype mouse, which looks like it's potentially something worth hacking, most of these mice are completely useless in my mind. Like totally and completely have no reason to exist. Getting back to the top 10 list, we have Vinny Caravella's top 10 games. Vinny Caravella is, I believe, the audio engineer or the video engineer of Giant Bomb. He's not really a editor or reporter, but they ask him his opinions anyways, and he has opinions, so good enough. Top 10 is Assassin's Creed Origins. 9 is Dream Daddy Dad Dating Simulator. Here's a picture of an actual woman in that game. I'm surprised. I didn't know that there were any women in the game other than the daughter. 8 is SteamWorld Dig 2. I don't think I'd put that on the list. Nier Automata, number 7. Super Mario Odyssey. Same split there. It's like, I think Nier Automata probably should be higher than Super Mario Odyssey. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, though, on the other hand, I think should at best be on number 10 or off the list completely. Number 4, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Definitely Zelda deserves to be on the list. I'm not sure how high, since practically I didn't play any of those games. Pyre is number 3. I seriously doubt Pyre is better than Zelda. Cuphead is number 2. I'm not sure Cuphead's better than Zelda, because Cuphead has this very specific gameplay style, whereas Zelda is this huge open world experience. And then number 1 is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. So many video game critics obsessed with that. Did I use my hero ability enough? Is the question. No, I still gotta use my hero power 10 more times. Wow. That is a hard daily quest to do. So, next game, top 10 games of 2017, we have Chad and Jared Moldenhauer's top 10 games. I don't know who these people are. Chad and Jared Moldenhauer are the co-founders of Studio MDHR, the team behind Cuphead. They're also brothers, but don't let the government know that. Okay, so that explains why I didn't recognize them. While I recognize the game Cuphead, I didn't really get so deep into it that I would recognize the people who made it. Their number 10 is a game called Monolith After the End. Is like Binding of Isaac, building with each room having a Geometry Wars party in it. So it's kind of like an RPG, but it looks like you're flying a vehicle. I will check out this game. That is an odd pick. That is, I guess, kind of the question is your top 10 list supposed to be something to point out new games? I don't think it is. I think your top 10 list in its name should be the top 10 games you feel there were this year. If you wanted to do a list that was something along the lines of the top 10 missed games, or the 10 most overlooked games of the year, that would be fine. Next is a game called The Surge, which I think this game is the one I think I know this game, but it wasn't anything worth mentioning. Wow, this list is way different, which I guess okay. If you want to point out games, or if you played different games. Just game finder. Number 8 is the Pathfinder Trifecta, Always Awake, A Robot Named Fight, and Pharaoh Rebirth Plus. What are all of these games? Like, they're giving 3 different games that I haven't heard of. Number 8. Like, moving on. Number 7 is The Last Day in June. I've heard of this one. I cannot really agree with anything on this list. And it's a list from 2 people too, so that makes it even stranger. Number 6 is Cosmic Star Heroine, which looks like an 8-bit game, but I'll check it out too. I'm on number 6 and I've already opened, I believe, 5 or 6 pages of games. Number 5 is Opus Magnum. I do know that game. Number 4 is Flint Hook. Is Flint Hook finished? I thought that game was still in development. Number 3 is Darkwood. Again, a game I haven't heard of. Wow, what a strange list. This is really just a list of people I don't know. Like, I can do 11 damage right now. Number 2 is a game called Bleed 2. I can't really say anything about any of these games. And number 1 is Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. Let's see. This. Like, close this page? Nope. So I'm left with a lot of Giant Bomb links to games, because when you click on the game name on Giant Bomb's website, it just takes you to the links on their forum for a game. And let's see. There's a Game of Sutra article that I had left over from last stream Friday. That was the 3DO, The Birth of My Cynicism, which is the 3DO, also known as the TurboGrafx, was a horrible console, one of the many failed consoles that came out. And this is just kind of an article of somebody's experience on receiving a 3DO, which would have been a lot of money spent on it for very bad games. Like, frankly, a lot of the old consoles were gambles at best and scams at worst. Very expensive things. But it was also a time before PCs and cell phones, so it wasn't unheard of in the same way that people spend $600 or $700, whether they realize it or not, on a new cell phone. People would spend $600 or $700 on a video game console or a VCR or Laserdisc player or something like that. Cheat death. It's just... Attack you. So I'm on the Humble Bundle store. We can now see the Jingle Cast list of games that were available. The final push. Let's see, where did I stop off? As far as games. Well, I know Free Sale Quest was one that they offered. So starting at Free Sale Quest and moving to the last list of games, there's Psychonauts. Maybe Sanction 2 is worth mentioning. And Cities Skyline Snowfall. It's like a DLC element. Honestly, this Yogscast Jingle Jam 2017 bundle was pretty awful. I wouldn't pay the $35 that you'd want. Now I would, however. I keep going back to it. Let's see. If you pay $10+ you still can get a bunch of manga visual novels with the Humble Manga Gamer and Friends bundle. And if you're into that, that's certainly Certainly looks like a deal. Sadly, I would get it, but then I'm never gonna play it. Like, I'm just never gonna be able to play any of these games unless they're fully voice acted, and none of them ever are. It's too expensive. So let's go back to Twitter and see if there's any news. And when we find that there isn't any news, after this game, we'll wrap up and we'll go into post-show play, which I don't think there may be that much at all anyways. If I get all of these done, all the hero power armor up things done, then let's see. Then, and if there's nothing on the European account, if we don't get another thing, another quest, I won't have to deal with that. And then I can just cheat by using my secondary account to do all the North American things. Latest Tech Tips has a computer they're building with this giant case that they're putting 2 entire computer units in one case, and then they're going to liquid cool the whole thing and hope it all works and fits. I saw some sales for Lego Dimensions in the United States at GameStop for like $15 for the base set. Not a terrible deal if you were to just buy the base set, or if you were to buy the base set and buy everything else. Just know that the servers are going to be shut down and they're not going to add anything more to it. But there's plenty of Lego game there if you're a fan of the other Lego games. Plus you're getting actual Lego things with the portable power. I'm a little surprised that the season 2 base set isn't being more heavily discounted. Okay, so I just need to use one more of these. So let's do this. Do one hero ability, then concede the game. Back up to 1,000 gold. That's nice, but no real indication or idea that there's a when the new expansion is coming out. So I'm not sure if the next Hearthstone expansion is coming out in January, February, or March. January, February, March, April. I don't know. Maybe that's not the next month. Yeah, clearly it's not coming out in December, but it can't also be coming out like in next October, because we know there's at least three coming out this year, and so you can generally guess, I guess, somewhere in February we'll start hearing some more news, and we're working towards that. If they do something slightly different than what they've been doing, that would be nice. There we go. There you go. We'll give a Merry Christmas to that person. Just free victory. So that's 2 daily quests done. That puts us right in the position for us to get back to Wednesday, and we'll stream, and we'll have a normal stream on Wednesday. Although I'm not sure there's really going to be too much to say. Now I'm switching back to the European account, and let's see how that works. I don't know if I even mentioned it, but I played the game called The Interactive Adventures of Dog Boy and Dog Mendoza and Pizza Boy was the name of the game. And I kind of burned through it fast and didn't really like it. It's based on a Portuguese comic book, and it just didn't seem like the writing translated to English well, and well, the game didn't translate from the manga or the graphic novel that well. I don't know, for some reason I only have this daily quest and nothing else popped up, so I'm gonna leave the European account alone. And then let's switch back to the Americas account, and we didn't even touch the Americas account online. And Travis is getting online and saying, "Hey Rydo," right when I'm about to wrap up. That sucks. Hey Travis. Get any questions or comments in now, I suppose. I suppose I could stay online for Travis for a little bit here. We have Enrage and we have Priest cards and victors with the Priest. So we'll just keep going for a little bit. Let's see, this custom Priest deck. Is this all Priest cards? Yes, it is. So if I play this custom Priest deck and I switch to my Hearthstone account on my phone, which probably means I need to turn down all the audio, and we'll log in. I finally had to, let's see, how can I see the comments? I can see the comments, but I can't read the comments because they're too small there. So how I can go to the web page and read them, because I can't read them off my phone right now. Yeah, that'll work. Come over here. I guess I could talk about analytics a little bit too, as boring as those are. So I went through some extra effort to, come on, streaming, play through my secondary account and get rid of the Kobolds and Catacombs daily quest. I think what I'm going to try to do. Travis says, "Darn, I just got done going to a party, but Merry Christmas." Merry Christmas, Travis. I'll stay on here and just play. We'll show off how I cheat the system and how to do it. And while I call it cheating, I don't think it's anything that Hearthstone doesn't know anything about. Just have a secondary account on your phone than your regular account. Challenge it and play yourself. They clearly were throwing everybody a bone by letting people play their friends to do daily quests. Alright, so this custom priest is what I need to do. I need to get victories, and I have no idea what I need to do with my other phone account, and I don't really care, so I'll just play Murlocs as I play. It's still a significant amount of work, and I feel like they should just give up the ghost and turn the daily quest into daily login bonuses. And if somebody wants to come in and just log into Blizzard and then turn around, take the bonus and leave, good on them, I would say, and just let them do it. Let's see, play, exchange all of those cards. It's kind of boring to it's kind of boring to play this way, because you only see half the screen, but I guess that's always been the case. Travis says, I tried doing that, but my phone isn't built to run Hearthstone. Well, that's kind of a shame. It's kind of surprising too. Hearthstone's pretty easy to run. All right. I know a lot of people, they seem to get hand-me-downs or something, and they just don't have very good phones. I need to replace my phone because I keep dropping it and breaking the cord, which is like totally a me problem. It's like I keep knocking it off my nightstand next to my bed, and it falls down on the ground, and instead of breaking the phone, which is great, it breaks the pins in the USB cord, and that just causes me to get yet another cord, and I've gone through like 5 cords, and so I want to upgrade my phone when I can cheaply to one with the new USB-C connector, and I'm hoping the USB-C connector versus the micro USB works a little bit better. And the way I use my phone is a little awkward because I'm leaving it plugged in most of the time, which leaving your phone plugged in the whole time probably isn't the greatest way to keep the battery working. Let's see. Travis says, it's a cheap phone, but fortunately I got an iPad for Christmas. I'd like to get an iPad, but I want to get it very cheaply. Like, I want to get one that would run, but maybe as a generation even 2 behind the current one. I wouldn't want to pay more than $300 for an iPad at most. For what little I would use it. But I have no Apple products whatsoever, so when somebody suggests like an Apple only game, or if I'm trying to help somebody else that has Apple products, I don't even know. And I've heard that Apple wants to change it in a way that even the Mac OS stuff works exactly like Apple works. So they're gonna have kind of how Windows 10 was trying to get Windows Phone games and apps to run also on Windows 10 via the UWP programs, the Universal Windows programs. And that's what I've heard Apple wants to get to, is so everything would go through the Apple Store. The same programs you have on your phone would go to your would go to your MacBook or your AirBook, whatever. So my other account is playing Murlocs, where I'm just playing priest cards and trying to get priest victories as quickly as possible. I would barely use an iPad. Well, maybe not. Like, I have a tablet that's the Nook HD Plus, and at this point it is about 5 years old, plus maybe, and I'm only using it as a giant screen to read comic books on it, and I don't do anything else with it, and the battery's so shot that I just leave it in airplane mode, and I don't update any other apps or anything on it. It acts nicely as a second place to have some authenticator stuff for Google Authenticator, and that's about it. Travis says, gotta love Murlocs. I do, but when you're playing yourself, either I have to come in here and kill something so he has room to play something, or I just give up. After the 7th Murloc he can play. So it becomes this awkward management in which you're intentionally killing your other account's cards just so they have room to play some more Murlocs. Or I can get one that can attack and then destroy itself. Or I can do Doomsayer and clear the field. So yeah, I suppose if I transferred what I was doing with my tablet to an iPad, I could switch it around that way. So do I take the victory now, or do I let my other character play more Murlocs? I take the victory now. But I need to get 5 games, so that's 1 of 5, and there's no great way to speed this up. I could have gotten him down to 10 health and then conceded, but that's kind of it. And that was 12 of the 50 price cards to play. And what's weird is both of these are on the same network, and yet the connection still is pretty bad. But I guess it is because I'm streaming. I have 45 out of 75 Murlocs I need to play played. Getting my secondary account gold and card packs and things is not super important. I may eventually just hand the secondary account, if not the main account, over to nieces and nephews if they ever get into Hearthstone 10 years. It's like, here, have this account that has all these cards. Some of these quests are not worth the gold you get. Absolutely. And it doesn't work in the greatest of ways that you would want it to anyways, because often the more difficult quests are the ones that are worth 60, 80, or 100. However, if I don't play for the most expensive quests, since there's a limited number of quests between each expansion, I wouldn't have enough gold to buy 50 card packs. And if I don't have enough gold to play 50 card packs, then that will be a boring video that I would make. Let's see. Silence a minion, +2 health. Put a copy of a card in your hand. And I could smash this one and heal it. And that's probably the right move. Play this in the turn. Play this, draw a card. Play this. Attack in the turn. Yeah, that's the whole thing. The daily quest should just be login quest. If every day you logged in, you were given a random amount between 40 and 100 gold, which is the exact range that it is now. 7 victories for 100 gold, 40 for winning like 2 victories with a specific hero. If it was just a mystery box that you open, not an actual loot box or anything, just a mystery box, it would be so much kinder. It would also drastically change how I streamed, because if I'm not limited or forced to play Hearthstone every day, I could stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and just cover the news, and as soon as the news is done, just stop playing, and I would be able to play whatever I wanted to play. So you would probably see me play like Catacombs and Catacombs and whatever, kobolds a lot more. I'm playing almost all of that off screen. But I also would imagine I should have hit this one actually. That was a mistake. Because then I could have damaged the other thing and then healed both of them. Just keep playing. I could also potentially change how often I streamed if it started being more of a choice, more of a I can stream for as long as I like, or I can choose to not stream for as long as I like. This, play this. Let's see. Do I even need to silence a minion? I can just silence him and return him back to his own thing. That's kind of all I can do. There you go. Yep. Travis agrees with me. Daily login bonuses is probably the best way to do it, in my opinion. Yep. Of course, it doesn't quite do what Blizzard wants you to do. It doesn't get you actually playing. But I'm not sure. An argument certainly could be made that there's actually too many people playing ranked and too many people playing casual. Too many people that don't care about playing ranked and casual, me included. If we got more consistent players who actually wanted to play instead of a lot of people that just kind of concede or just do the daily quest, like you just saw it. As soon as I got that daily quest done, I just conceded. I didn't care. And that causes a lot of players that don't care to be at the end, and makes the game a little too wild and a little too crazy. Maybe not. Like, it's kind of hard to tell. Play this, freeze that, and end the turn. Let's see. This damage. Let's see. Let's go with this damage. This damaged. Have anything else that could be damaged? No, not really. Heal. Actually, I could have hit this. I need to hurry up. Wasting the time. Travis says, I gotta go, but have a good rest of your Christmas. Thanks, Travis. I will. Thanks for swinging by. I think maybe I'll just stay unmuted since we're already here. Like, I don't see a real reason to do a muted post show. It actually saves me some time if I don't have to deal with that, because then I don't have to do as much editing in the process anyways. And once the secondary account is done with playing Murlocs, I don't have to play any Murlocs and I can just end the turn. Let's see. So play that Murloc in the turn. And let me just take the victory. There we go. So that should be 2 victories for the priest out of 5 needed. And 29 out of 50 cards played of the priest cards. And we're waiting for the secondary account to run. 54 of 75 Murlocs to be played. This is also how Disguised Toast shows off his tests and experiments with Hearthstone, as he has 2 accounts. Practically every big streamer, I imagine, has 2 accounts for one reason or another. Not all of them specifically just to do what I'm doing right now, but... Oh, this is interesting. The audio of the other player shuffling cards is hearable. So, if they click on one card, you hear 1 click sound. If they click on 2 cards, you hear 2 sounds, and 3 cards, you hear 3 sounds, which is not something I knew. So, you get more information at the beginning than I thought. We have... Is it Milvaj? Milvaj saying hiya? Hiya, Milvaj? For Milvaj's sake, I'll say we're cheating right now with my secondary account to try to get the daily quest done quickly, since today happens to be Christmas and there's not a significant reason that I would want to spend a lot of time here. So you've come in kind of at the end, but it will take me probably 2 or 3 games of playing myself before I can get everything done. The account you're seeing here needs to get victories and play priest cards, whereas the other account needs to play Murlocs. If anybody's wondering what I got for Christmas, it was mostly Legos. Lots and lots of Legos. Way too much Legos. I've become one of those persons that has effectively an entire room dedicated to a train set. Except for in this case, it's not a train set, it's a set of Legos to build a city as big as a bedroom, probably. I'm probably close to that point once I put everything together. But also, it was a year's supply of Legos, so I'm not like gonna rush to do it all. I'll probably do 1 set every month or 2. And that was what I wanted, and that's what I got, so I am happy. There's some other things on the list that I probably need to buy at different times. Like a new video card, it's probably would have been the worst time right now to buy a new video card. In February, they'll probably announce a new GeForce type card, and at that point, there will probably that would be the right time to buy that. More hard drives, always useful. Like, so much of what I need is kind of directly connected to whether or not to my YouTube channel. I kind of have all the equipment I need, unless I'm going to try to play computer, not computer games, but Oh, what am I trying to say? If I was going to play console games like the PS4 and Xbox One or the Switch, I'd need a bunch of equipment, including each of those consoles. But I'm not going to do that. Nintendo content IDs and copyrights anything. So playing a Nintendo game's just never going to happen. And Xbox One and PS3 games, there aren't that many console exclusives. So that doesn't make enough sense to justify it. And as far as microphones and things like that, I'm fine. Maybe some soundproofing. Soundproofing could always be used. But for the most part, I have everything I need in life. Or as much as I probably will ever get. More income from ad revenue. No ad apocalypses this year, please, Google. That would be nice. More fans that gift games would be nice. Travis being the first one to ever do that. It's very appreciated, and I knew it would be the case, but even one person buying me one game probably is more of a contribution than even a thousand people watching ads on my channel, because YouTube takes their 50% cut, and the fractions of a penny you get on every ad view is so low. And yes, I could go make a Patreon and maybe get a larger cut, but I would need enough people that were willing to donate to the Patreon to keep the account from being shut down and marked as inactive. And Patreon has their fees on it too, and so if there was only one or two people that were donating $1 a month, that would still probably be more than the ad revenue that I get from YouTube. But it's not enough to spend the effort. More subscribers on my channel. That's my wish, I suppose. If I was to just pick something. And I am getting more subscribers on my channel all over every day, practically now. But if I got a major jump up from about 200 to 500 in less than a year, that would be nice. If it really had more of a snowballing effect. Remember, I'm just playing cards here. The more priest cards I play, the better. While the other account's playing Murlocs. Working on 3 different day questings. Keep on silencing. And play. And play. In the turn. I need to get a minion on the field so I can actually win this. It's a shame you can't just concede immediately. You have to get them down to 10 health first before it to count. I guess I could have played that card, couldn't I? Oops. I'm gonna risk this. Play Doomsayer. Gain control something that's 2 or more. 2 or less attack. Interesting experiment there. I thought maybe that would move the order out of in a different way so you'd gain another turn. Not so lucky. Double minions health in the turn. At this rate, I'm wondering if I should just try and take victory this way. Let my other account win. That was the wrong card to play. I should have attacked with one of the ones with taunt. Finally, this and this and this one and this in the turn. So you play this here, that there, play this, so we get this card back, play this again, and in the turn. There we go. Attack that, and then attack that, and then heal this. And then the turn. Right. Let's see. Let's play this, kill that one, heal this, kill that, keep attacking, keep that attacking going. Play more Murlocs in the turn. Gain control. Here we go. Maybe we can get this done next turn. There we go. Just end the turn, don't have any more Murlocs to play. And play this card and win. Good. I do notice this isn't the greatest commentary ever. And I just need one more priest win and then we're done. Let's see how many more Murlocs I need to play. Like 2 more Murlocs. Good. So 1 more game and all the daily quests are done. We'll come back on Wednesday. We'll probably have a short stream on Wednesday too. This is why I go into the post-play show, the silent post-play, is because I start to just really focus. When I'm focusing on the game, I start to sound pretty silly and just am saying this and that a lot and looking at pictures. And of course, the people that are watching on YouTube certainly aren't seeing all the pictures, so they don't have a clue what I'm talking about. And it's not very informative, and it's not very interesting, in my opinion.
Is someone injured?
But fortunately, we've only got a little bit to do. So, this, there, that, there. I get right back into saying that. We'll put a Murloc, and that's all we can do. We'll play that and that.
Right away.
Go ahead and freeze with the Murloc. Play the coin. Play this other card. And damage this guy too.
Right away.
I'll try to damage as many cards next turn. It's kind of hard to do that with Murlocs, but we'll try. So we can do this, and we can do that, and that's all we can do. Let's see. There. Play the heal on 3 cards.
Is someone injured?
Now I've doubled the amount of cards I'll draw away. Alright. Yep. Keep on playing. Keep on playing. Smack it twice. Damage that once. And draw a card.
I hope you like my invention. Right away. Right away.
I can't do that.
This should draw 8 cards, and this is one that I was looking for. This'll win the game. Both of these combined.
Hand is too full.
At this point, I should have done enough damage to do everything I need to do. So I can end that there.
I'm out of cards.
I've played as many cards as possible. Do that. Do that. I could have doubled this up to 18 and then done that, but that's not necessary. Daring comes on. Why not board control? Because I'm just playing against my secondary account to finish up the daily quest, so I know what both players are gonna do. Also, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Darian. Merry Christmas to everybody. So, yeah, I was just cheating with my secondary account. My secondary account needed to play Murlocs, and it did that, and I got 100 gold for doing that. And my primary account needed to get priest victories and play priest cards, which then leaves my secondary account with quests that don't really matter, such as playing 50 rogue cards and winning 5 Druid things. And I'm going to start just like trading them all out to see if I could get nothing but watch and learns on my secondary account. And the only thing on my primary account I need to do is enrage 10 minions, and I don't even need to do that because I may trade that out by Wednesday. So I've gotten all 3 of my accounts done really quickly, and I've managed to do it without having to go into a post-game show. And since it is Christmas and I have really no motivation to continue playing, that's going to be it for this stream. I'm very surprised so many people came on the chat at all, but I'm happily surprised, certainly. That's it for this stream, so go try to enjoy your friends and family some more without me. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching, and Merry Christmas. Bye.